In Nigeria and around the world to midday news on global television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ubong Osoro. A quick reminder, global television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. It was a day of cheers and political realignment in the House of Representatives as former lawmakers and key political figures from Kanu, Abdul Mumin Jubril, and Sagi Kori officially announced their defection from the new Nigeria's People's Party, NNPP, to the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC. National Assembly correspondent Nietia Patrick reports that the move has stirred excitement within the APC fold, especially among party loyalists from Kano State.
During plenary at the House of Representatives, a moment that sparked jubilation among members of the ruling All Progressives Congress. Reading the letter on the floor, a visibly elated Speaker Tajuddin Abbas described Abdul Mumin Jibrin as a man of principle, one who calls a spade a spade. In his letter, Jibrin cited lingering divisions and unresolved internal crisis within the NNPP as reasons for his defection. He said the development had made it nearly impossible for him to effectively represent the people of Kiru Bebeji Federal Constituency in the House.
I wish to formally inform you and the entire Honorable House of my decision to resign my membership from the new Nigerian People's Party and to join the All Progressive Congress APC with immediate effect.
The declaration triggered chants of solidarity and applause from APC lawmakers and drew notable reactions from party stalwarts watching closely from Kano. Among those celebrating the move is former APC national chairman and now the chairman of Fan Board, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, who described Jibrin's return as a homecoming of value and loyalty.
As part of our blueprint to make Kano State a one-party state, we have continued taking House of Representative members and senators into our party.
The defection adds to the growing wave of political shifts in Kano ahead of 2027, signaling renewed momentum for the APC in the state. From the National Assembly, Nietia Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
He says he has great respect for the Nigerian military, but their operations must remain within the confines of the law. His comments followed a recent confrontation with a naval officer over a disputed land in Kadua district of Abuja. Kabir Hassan has details.
It was a tense exchange between officials of the Federal Capital Territory Administration and a naval officer, Ahmed Yerima. An incident that stirred fresh debates about land ownership and authorities in the nation's capital. Clarifying the matter, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike says the military has no documented ownership of the disputed land and that impunity or unlawful conduct, even by government officials, will not be tolerated.
We can never succeed if we continue to allow impunity, lawlessness. No country, no matter how hard you work, you allow impunity, you allow lawlessness to continue to prevail, that country will never go anywhere.
The minister commended former leaders and retired generals of their discipline and civility in resolving issues through dialogue rather than force. He believes that controversy may have been fueled by political opponents unhappy with the style of leadership, but reaffirmed his commitment to President Bola Tinubu's Real Hope agenda on the ongoing development of the FCT.
I respect the institutions, and I know what it takes. Even as a governor, no governor will say that they supported the military that more than me.
The minister emphasizes that his administration will continue to enforce the law in ensuring that all development in the Federal Capital Territory follow due process. Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News.
The Senate has taken a significant step towards modernizing the country's military legal framework. The Senate passed for a second reading a bill aimed at repealing and reenacting the Armed Forces Act with updated provisions to align with Nigeria's constitutional and security realities. The bill, sponsored by Senator Abdulaziz Yaradua, seeks to establish a modern, constitutionally compliant and operationally responsive legal framework for the armed forces of Nigeria. Topsy Gimba reports.
Senator Yaradua explained during plenary that the current Armed Forces Act dates back to military decrees of the 1960s, last consolidated in 2004, and no longer meets today's demands. He emphasized the need to align military governance with democratic accountability and to modernize disciplinary procedures.
Many democracies, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, including the United States, United Kingdom, and South Africa, have modernized their military laws to ensure justice, accountability, and professionalism. Nigeria cannot afford to lag behind. This bill therefore places our military legal system in step with global best practices.
Senator Ali Ndume from Borno South lends his support, describing the reform as long overdue.
This is what this bill is trying to do, to update the laws, subject the armed forces to civil rule, and also improve on human rights, protection, and others, and efficiency.
Senator Tahir Munguno called the bill a necessary move to bring military authorities under democratic control, while Senator Samson Ekong of Akwa Ibom South called it a profound step to deepen the nation's defense policy framework.
Seeks to subject military authorities to the command of the commander-in-chief, that is democratically elected president.
With behind this bill as part of a wider process of reform that will deepen the contents of our military law and jurisprudence.
Deputy Senate President Barrow Jibril, who presided over the session, put the bill to a voice vote. He later referred it to the relevant committees on Defense, Army, Air Force, and Navy, directing them to report back within 4 weeks. The bill now awaits further committee review before advancing to the next legislative stage. Topsy Gemba, reporting for Global Television News.
The House of Representatives has raised two urgent national issues. One of the looming concerns over WAEC's planned computer-based testing system, and another on the massive revenue leakages from tax waivers and incentives. The House has now resolved to investigate both matters, citing their potential impact on the nation's youth and economy. Here's Anietia Patrick's report.
Lawmakers expressed alarm over the plan by the West African Examinations Council, WAEC, to introduce computer-based testing for the 2026 examinations. They warned that the move could lead to massive failure among students, especially those from the rural areas with limited access to computers or stable electricity, potentially triggering depression and other mental health concerns. The House therefore resolved to urge WAEC to suspend the plan and adopt a gradual transition model, ensuring that schools and candidates are adequately prepared before any full rollout.
House is also aware that most of the schools in the urban areas and in the rural areas do not have functional computers, nor computer teachers, and also, as a result, they have not used computers before.
In another motion, members turned their attention to the nation's revenue crisis, revealing that Nigeria loses over 8 trillion naira annually through tax incentives, waivers, and exemptions. They said the abuse of these incentives by some companies and the mismanagement by government agencies are starving the country of funds needed for infrastructure, healthcare, and education. The House consequently resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to probe the administration of tax waivers and exemptions granted between 2015 and 2025 and recommend reforms to plug leakages and improve transparency.
The House resolves to constitute an ad hoc committee to investigate the administration and impact of tax waivers exemptions and incentives granted by the government between 2015 and 2025.
Two motions, one house, both pointing to the need for fairness and accountability from the classroom to the nation's treasury. From the National Assembly, Anie T. Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
Concerns about vote buying continues to dominate conversations as Nigeria ages closer to future elections. Many citizens say the practice is now more brazen and needs urgent attention. Global Television correspondent Zara Nazir reports on the growing public frustration and the calls for stronger action.
Vote buying is an election campaign violation that occurs in many countries, which undermines the integrity of electoral processes and is detrimental to democratic governance.
On the streets of Abuja, Nigerians are voicing deep worry over the rising trend of vote buying. To many, it is no longer a hidden practice but an open transaction that places personal gain above national interest. Those who spoke to Global TV described the act as a deliberate attempt by politicians to exploit citizens' economic challenges for selfish political advantage. They are urging voters to understand their rights, resist inducements, and protect the value of their votes.
The problem we have is we, the poor masses, or we, the people, we don't know even our rights. Because if I know my rights, you can't buy my vote. As a youth, sometimes hunger, we forget what will happen next than what will just happen now.
Stopping it, well, it depends. Nigerian politics is one politics that we don't know how to fix it. But the politicians, they know what to do about this. They should stop vote buying and let's be civil in whatever thing we are doing.
Our politicians are the most selfish set of people, and I don't think in the nearest future they will be willing to change. It's an attitudinal thing.
James Ogochukwu, Regional Executive General Secretary of the West African Civil Society Forum, says the persistence of vote buying is tied to poverty and worsening economic hardship. He explains that unless citizens are properly sensitized, especially at the grassroots, vote buying will continue to thrive.
Because a lot of Nigeria actually this depraved. If they know that they can get money that can buy them food for that particular day, or can even give them food for some couple of days, they will be susceptible to that kind of vote buying.
He also emphasized that security agencies must remain neutral and courageous enough to go after anyone involved in the act. According to him, credible elections cannot be achieved if law enforcement is compromised or selective in its operations. Zahra Nasser reporting for Global TV News.
Nostalgia, laughter, and heartfelt connection as the Federal Government Girls College, FGGC, or Owerri Holds Girls Association, class of 1980, fondly called the Vivacious Icons, held their grand reunion and anniversary celebration in Abuja. The event brought together accomplished women from various parts of Nigeria and abroad. It was more than just a reunion. It was a celebration of friendship, resilience, and shared memories built over 4 decades ago within the walls of FGGC Owerri. Global Television's Ogechukwu Mobuno completes the report.
It was a colorful homecoming for proud alumni of FGGC Owerri, class of 1980, who converged to mark the 45th anniversary since graduating from one of Nigeria's foremost unity schools. The class of 1980, who are fondly called Vivacious Icons, celebrated the legacy of the college in shaping accomplished women in leadership, education, public service, and enterprise across the country and beyond. The president of the Old Girls Association class of 1980, Carol Alex Uzoma, described the reunion as a moment of gratitude and rededication to the values of discipline, unity, and excellence that define the FGGC spirit.
We are here for our global reunion. Our girls are coming from all over the world for our shared memories, for what we hold dear, for what Federal Government Girls College meant to us. Built us up, that we are proud citizens of Nigeria, proud Nigerians. When we think of Nigeria, we represent Nigeria.
Some of the old girls class of 1980 women took turns to reintroduce themselves to express how they feel about the reunion.
Whatever you see today, the woman I have become, the foundation started in FGDC. That I cannot take away.
Wow, I give credit to my alma mater. What I am today is actually what I gained from my alma mater, the foundation of my education, the foundation of my career as a corporate person, and the woman I am today. I actually benefited from that, from my alma mater.
The events include sharing fond memories, plans for their upcoming election as it ends with joy and celebration. With 45 years behind them, the old girls of Federal Government Girls College class of 1980 says their mission continues to inspire the next generation of women leaders and to preserve the proud heritage of the FGDC family. Ogochukwu Mobono reporting for Global Television News.
To the old girls of Federal Government College Owerri. You're watching the live broadcast of the Midday News. When Midday News returns, United States pushes Security Council to back Gaza's plan as Russia offers counterattacks. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. The Senate Committee on Public Accounts has written to all commercial banks to provide details for the revenue generated as stamp duty from 2016 to 2024. Senator Aliyu Wadada stated this during a news briefing in Abuja. Topsy Kimba has details.
Senator Ali Wadada said the committee has written to all commercial banks, including the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, as well as Federal Inland Revenue Service, to provide information about stamp duty collected from 2016 to 2024. He said this step was taken to enable the federal government to have more funds to execute programs in the country. He said the affected banks have up to 25th of this month to provide details. He disclosed that the involvement of CBN is to explain how much has been collected from those commercial banks and how much has been remitted into the Treasury Single Account TSA.
Had a meeting and looked into the commitment of this administration as to generating and maximizing revenue so as to enable it discharge its responsibilities effectively to provide for the needs of the citizens of the country.
Topsy Gimba reporting for Global Television News.
Representatives is taking a hard look at oil and gas companies accused of shortchanging their host communities. Lawmakers say the firms have failed to remit the mandatory 3% of their annual operating expenditure as required by the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021. National Assembly correspondent Anyete Patrick again reports.
The resolution followed a motion raised by Hart Godwin, who said many oil and gas firms are yet to comply with the Host Communities Development Trust Fund provision, a key feature of the Petroleum Industry Act, designed to ensure that all producing communities benefit directly from exploration activities. Under Section 240 of the Act, each oil company is required to contribute 3% of its annual operating expenditure into the fund, while Section 236 mandates that such trusts be incorporated within 12 months of the Act's commencement. But Godwin told the House that several operators have either ignored these provisions or failed to remit the funds, leaving host communities in neglect and hardship.
Mandate the Committee on Host Communities to investigate the failure of regulatory agencies to act decisively.
The House has now directed its Committee on Host Communities to investigate both the oil companies and the regulatory agencies responsible for enforcing compliance and report back within 4 weeks. In a related development, lawmakers also resolved to probe the financial dealings of NNPC LNG Limited. The House Committee on Gas Resources is to examine the operations and remittances of NNPC LNG Limited, a Cayman Islands registered subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, amid allegations of unreported financial transactions and possible revenue losses to the federal government. Lawmakers expressed concern over deductions from liquefied natural gas proceeds allegedly made without due authorization or disclosure.
Without a formal notification, disclosure, or approval of the federal government, thereby raising serious concerns of financial improprieties.
Are expected to submit their findings within 4 weeks, part of what lawmakers describe as renewed efforts to enforce transparency and accountability in Nigeria's oil and gas sector. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
The United States has called on the United Nations Security Council to officially back its draft resolution aimed at blustering President Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan, warning that Palestinians could suffer grave consequences if it does not obey the call. This call came in a statement as Russia presented the council with its own counter-proposal on Gaza, challenging Washington's drive. A spokesperson for the U.S. mission to the United Nations said attempts to sow discord around Washington's resolution would only result in grave, tangible, and entirely avoidable consequences for Palestinians in Gaza should a ceasefire break down and Israel resumes its assaults. President Cyril Ramaphosa says the United States' boycott of the G20 summit in South Africa later this month would not prevent the meeting of the world's leading economies from going ahead. Pretoria and Washington have clashed over a range of policy issues, including South Africa's summit agenda, culminating in President Donald Trump announcing that no U.S. official will attend the Johannesburg gathering. Zara Nazir reports.
Ramaphosa told reporters in the coastal city of Cape Town that South Africa will take fundamental decisions, affirming that the United States stands to lose if it decides to boycott the summit. He noted that, in many ways, the United States is also giving up the very important role that it should be playing as the biggest economy in the world.
The United States is also giving up very important role that they should be playing as the biggest economy.
Set to hold between November 22nd and 23rd, the summit marks the first time the G20 will convene on African soil. South Africa, current G20 chair, wants to use its presidency to champion global South priorities, including boosting climate resilience and tackling debt in developing countries before handing the baton to the United States next year. Zahra Nasser reporting for Global TV News.
The Nigeria College and Football Federation Association is making waves in grassroots flag football as it flags off participation at the NOGA Games 2025 and the University of Jos. The Federation has already struck gold, clinching top honors in flag football events internationally, now setting its sights on the upcoming secondary school championship finals in Abuja. Samuel Odi reports for Global Television.
18 state champions, male and female, are going to gear up for what promises to be an explosive flag football showdown as the Nigerian College and Football Federation Association stages its finals in Abuja. The event, scheduled to hold from the 18th to the 22nd of November 2025, will bring together the best teams from across the country. It was a moment of pride and progress for Nigerian College and Football Federation Association as its football team participated at the 27th edition of NOGA Games in Jos. Beyond the celebration, Oluwatobi Ade says this stands as a testament to the growing impact of grassroots flag football initiatives championed by the Nigerian Amateur Football Association, NAFA.
A lot of people have this misconception: is it rugby, is it volleyball? But we've successfully gone about spreading the gospel of American football, flag football, to let them know this is a different sport, not used to, something different from what they've been seeing. And over the years, since inception, we've been able to, establish a lot of initiatives and flagship programs for flag football that has really helped us to spread the word of what we've been doing. Now,
as Abuja gets set to host the final championship games of NAFA, the event promises to bring together the nation's best flag football teams for what promises to be a thrilling climax to the season. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
On Midday News, a quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on the screen using @Global TV NG. I am Ubong Osoro. Bye for now.